And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family, your business benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message. I deliver it every day, and we have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly at 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are no operators standing by. I am it.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. This is an interesting one because I'm looking at today's celebration and it's Mint Julep Day today, but shouldn't that be on the Kentucky Derby Day? I'm just curious about that one. Seems like this is an odd time, being that we know that mint juleps are known for Kentucky Derby Day, so we're just going to kind of skip that one because, you know, it's a bit useless.
You're absolutely useless.
Loomis Day, Hole in My Bucket Day, Water a Flower Day. Yeah, not very good. Not very exciting is our commentary for today. So let's take a look at the markets, see what's going on in the markets for us this morning. I looked a little bit ago. We're down 37 points on the Dow, 21,000. I know we had a record close at the end of last week. Oil down 56 cents per barrel. $2.36.8 is the cost of a gallon of gasoline nationally. Here in the state of confusion, though, we're paying $3.09 more than any other state in the union. We are the leader. We're leading the pack. Well, I guess I have to be excited about something here in this world, but leading the pack in highest gasoline price for a state that is so heavily dependent on gasoline, that doesn't look like a good idea to me. U.S. 10-year Treasury, I've been sharing with you, I believe we're going down to be about 1.90 on the 10-year yield. We are at 2.23 right now is the 10-year yield. Not a great idea, not a great recommendation for those people that are on fixed income, but that's kind of where we are right now on that one. It's a shame, but it is helping our mortgage prices. 2.228 is exactly where we are right now, down 3 basis points for the day. Not the direction that we want to be heading. It's always best to see our 10-year yield going up or doing a little bit better on the yield going up. I know there's people that are going to say, Ron, that doesn't make any sense because you lead a lending team, a mortgage lending team, and that's counterintuitive for the lending team. Well, the bottom line here is what's in the best interest of our country? What's in the best interest? What does that say about our economy? So our economy is doing better when we are with a higher yield on that 10-year Treasury. I did note over the weekend that I saw the Federal Reserve back. They're still making the same comments they've been making. They want to see inflation rise to 2%. April personal income, though, rose 0.4%, pretty much in line with the expectations. We also saw that core PCE price index increased 0.2% from March, above the consensus of 0.1%. It was 1.5% higher than a year ago, down from 1.6% last month. So Seeing some interesting numbers there as well, but we're still seeing the mortgage-backed securities, the bond price there, the mortgage-backed security price is increasing, which means interest rates are on the decline, which is a good number right there. And we're going to talk quite a bit about interest rates and credit scores and the like today, mainly because we know that we're seeing that all of a sudden, it's pretty simple. We're seeing that Americans' credit scores are doing better. Americans' credit scores are at their all-time high, which is a good sign for us. When these credit scores are so high, it means people are paying attention. They're using their money wisely. That's a big issue, and I'll tell you why that's a big issue. Is because during the bubble, the real estate bubble, people were not using these things real wise. Their credit. They were not using them wise. What they were doing was just taking on new debt all the time. And when you're taking on new debt all the time, basically what's happening is you're seeing that people are using their home as an ATM. Now, is it bad to use your home as an ATM? And I'm going to suggest no, it's not, as long as you're doing it for the right purposes. So what would be the correct purposes there? Well, if you're doing it for home improvements, then I'm going to say that makes sense. If you're doing it to go buy a new car, well, that's on the other end of the spectrum, is we don't want to be going out to buy a new car with debt that we're taking out of the house. Now, you hear that'll probably resonate with some folks who listen to Ron Siegel Radio on a regular basis. The question then becomes, okay, so if you don't want to use it to pay off your credit, your car, or go buy a new car, why is it, Ron, that you say to us that it makes sense to look at your total household debt to figure out what is going to make sense when we're looking at a debt consolidation loan, and a car is part of that? Well, the answer to that is quite simple. The reason I want you to look at your car payments when you're doing a debt consolidation loan is we're looking at all of your debts as an entire lot. We want to know what are the debts that you have, what's your total expense, your household expense. You've heard me say this many, many times. The price you have on your interest rate for your home is only one component of household debt. So what we're looking at when we talk about the blended household debt, your blended interest rate, and that's a strategy, that's a strategic financial planning decision we're looking at in that case, because you've already taken on the debt. So the big difference is timing. If one has taken on the debt, well, then you've got to look at it and say, okay, what makes sense to get rid of debt? What makes sense in an overall picture? What makes sense in the overall package? And if you've already got that debt going, maybe we can just limit it a little bit. Maybe we can say, okay, we're going to roll it all into one new 30-year fixed rate loan or a 7-year interest-only loan. We'll look at all those different options for you. But the whole idea there becomes an issue of, let's figure out if we can take some of the savings and apply it to that debt, to the new 30-year fixed rate loan or the 7-1 loan, whichever makes sense for your family. But if we look at that and apply some of the savings or a majority of the savings, well, then what we're doing is we're cutting down the duration. So it's not really paying off your car over 30 years. You're going to pay it off over a shorter period of time. And you're going to also be putting some money away to buy the next car, so you have cash set aside so you're not in the same predicament again. So the average credit score nationwide, 700 in April, the highest national credit score average since at least 2005, when the data started being tracked by the Fair Isaac Corporation, or FICO. About 6 million Americans will have bankruptcies removed from their scores within the next 5 years, according to a report by Barclays PLC, and the number of consumers believed to be the riskiest borrowers with a credit score below 600 include just 20% of U.S. adults, down from 25.5% in 2010. Higher scores lead to more available credit, We'd see more activity in terms of loan approvals, credit card approvals, more spending. And that would have a ripple effect across the economy, increasing aggregate demand for goods and services. So the increase in the debt or the credit scores can be a good thing for us over the short and long run. And we're going to spend a lot of time talking about that because for the economy, just on the economic side, well, then we start seeing people buying cars at a decent rate. Instead of getting the high rate interest loans, they're going to go and get them at a lower interest rate when they buy a new car. Look at all the add-ons that go to that, the trucking to move cars around the country, the finance, the manufacturing, all the parts down line. So those are all good things for our economy. That's why we take a look at these numbers on a regular basis. That's why we track these numbers. And that's why we want to see that it's really a good piece of information, knowing that we're reaching these all-time highs. We're going to see, because I get this conversation, I get this debate on probably every day now, is I have somebody saying to me, Ron, are we in another bubble? And I'm continually looking and saying, how do you define a bubble? What does a bubble mean to you? When you start looking at it from that standpoint, you start looking and saying, okay, well, a bubble is nothing more than prices going up because prices are going up. Well, no. Prices are not going up because prices are going up. Prices are going up for economic reasons. The economic reason is that we continue to see demand increasing, and there's not a supply of property, there's not a supply of product inventory coming to the marketplace. New home starts are still not a great number. As long as we don't have a lot of new home starts and we need 1.5 million new units every year, well, the likelihood is we're going to continue to see some good things happening in our economy, and we will not see the effects of a bubble. That's the whole concept there. Robin, are we getting any sound right now? I just saw your note that says you're not getting any sound to it. Just checking to see if you're hearing me as of yet. I don't know why we're not getting any sound. Are we getting sound? Aha, maybe I didn't plug. Sound coming through now. Oh. Hopefully we're getting some good sound. I just saw that message come across. Thanks for sharing that. We're going to double check it. We're going to take a break right now. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, we're going to talk about the #1 reason to list your house for sale now. How costly is bad credit? Home renovation boom is turning people's houses into ATMs again. And remember, you can reach us anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. On Twitter, @Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, yes, it will be on YouTube. Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you earning a safe, secure 2% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
What if your family business could help clothe a less fortunate family? Or your restaurant could feed truly hungry people? What if you could help to comfort the lonely? Plant sustainable resources where nothing has ever grown before? Or make a child's lifelong wish come true? What if all you had to do was simply do nothing more than what your business already does every day? Would you do it? Introducing Processing for a Cause, a unique program that turns a percentage of your business's credit card volume into ongoing donation dollars for nonprofit organizations and foundations. Simply switch your credit card processing provider to Processing for a Cause and begin supporting a worthy cause today. The process is simple, and the cause will change lives forever. Processing for a Cause.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel lending team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel lending team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452.
Are you a veteran, police officer, firefighter, doctor, nurse, or teacher? If so, you qualify as one of Ron Siegel's VIP heroes, and we have rewards up to $5,000 or $10,000 when you buy, sell, or refinance a home with one of the Ron Siegel radio partners. As one of the heroes, real estate agents will rebate part of their commission. Lending partners will give a credit at closing. The title company has special published rates, and many other service providers have incentives too. All you need to do is call Ron Siegel Radio at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit VIPHeroProgram.com. Just think about what you will do with all the rebates and incentives from the partners of Ron Siegel Radio. Just call us at 800-306-1990 so we can show you our appreciation for your service.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Hopefully we've got the sound figured out right now for our friends on Facebook. Didn't have any message coming back from our engineers on the other stream, so I want to just make sure our friends on Facebook are getting some sound. Somebody in there, please hit us up and just let us know. I thought I saw Robin said that we figured it out, so hopefully we'll get someone to throw a comment right on there for me. But the real-time real estate segment being brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Text NEST, N-E-S-T, to 79564. Find your dream home before someone else does. That is our friends over there at Nest. All you have to do is just simply put in just a little bit of information. You're going to put in where you want to live, the demographics, you know, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, a zip code or streets or areas or wherever you want looking for. Put a price range in there. You're going to get a text message. Whenever there's something new comes up in your area, text NEST, N-E-S-T, to 79564. No advertising there. Number one reason to list your house for sale now. And if you are debating listing your house for sale this year, here is the number one reason not to wait. And are you ready for that number one reason? That's the question I will throw out to you. Give you a little bit of a drum roll right there to figure out what is the number one reason. And it is buyer demand continues to outpace the supply of homes for sale. The National Association of Realtors, NAR, their chief economist, Lawrence Yun, recently commented on the inventory, and I'll quote, "Last month's dip in closings was somewhat expected, given that there was such a strong sales increase in March at 4.2%, and new and existing inventory is not keeping up. With the fast pace, homes are coming off the market. Demand is easily outstripping supply in most of the country, and it's stymieing many prospective buyers from finding a home to purchase. The latest existing home sales report shows that there is currently a 4.2-month supply of homes for sale. That's a national number. This remains lower than the 6-month supply necessary for a normal market, and 4.6% lower than a year ago." So we're going to put a chart up. We were sharing that on our Facebook channel, social media channels this morning. Anything less than 6 months is considered a seller's market. The bottom line here is if you're thinking about selling, give me a call, 800-306-1990. There are a lot of ready, willing, and able buyers right now in the marketplace. And if they've visited our friends over at Gold Star Mortgage, then they know they've already got their Fast Pass pre-approval. The Fast Pass pre-approval is basically just telling us that you are pre-underwritten. That allows the real estate professional to check box J4 on the residential purchase agreement that says no loan contingencies. Think about that concept. If you've got no loan contingencies versus a buyer that has loan contingencies, or you're competing against a cash buyer, you're going to be able to close almost as quick with a Fast Pass pre-approval as a cash purchase. It just depends on what the cash purchaser is looking for, because you still need to have a clear title report. I'm assuming that a cash purchaser is going to want clear title as well. The big issue that may be a little different is the Fast Pass does require an appraisal, and a cash purchaser might say, I don't even want an appraisal. But if they're not waiving that appraisal contingency, then you're basically looking at pretty much the same product. So the other issue that you really want to make sure you're looking at is, have you hired a great professional to help you with that sale? The reason I ask about hiring a great professional to help with the sale is very, very simple. You need it. You've got to have somebody helping you with this, because the main issue that's going to come up there is negotiations. Almost every property that I'm seeing, or every contract I'm seeing right now, is having a lot of opportunity, a lot of offers. If the property is priced properly, we've shared the data with you before. California, properties are selling in less than 30 days when they are priced properly. Now, they're not always being priced properly. Then that part of that has to do with the fact, do you have a great professional that's working with you? Do you have a great professional that's helping out in that area? That's a big issue right there, because the negotiations in a multi-bid, I can only share with you, now I've told you this before, I've got a real estate license. I don't use it. Needed it for some business transactions I was doing at one time. Don't need it right now, but I have got it. So I do that, I say that in the interest of full disclosure. But here's the concept that you need to be aware of is, if a purchase comes in to a seller, and you're not using a real estate agent, you're just saying, I'm going to try and do it on my own. Number one, it's very difficult unless you're looking at a real clean transaction. How can somebody handle both sides of the transaction and be looking and saying, you know something, I'm working to get the seller the highest price possible and the buyer the lowest price possible. How does that work if you have one person doing both sides? So that becomes one issue right there. The other issue becomes in the negotiations of the extras, the add-ons. So the negotiations of, if there's a home inspection, is there work to be done? Well, the seller wants to do as little as possible. The buyer wants everything done. So you need to have a great representation. Now, is it going to cost you any extra if you're the buyer to get great representation? No, because it's already built in. That when the contract is done in the beginning, the contract says, okay, this is what the sales fees are going to be. X amount of percent is going to go to the listing agent, and X percent is going to the buying agent. So as a listing agent, if he sees that the buyer has nobody representing him, he likes that because he makes double commission. But it might be easier in a more logical methodology if you're seeing somebody have a representation on both sides to help each individual. I would recommend you take a look at that. Talk to the people. See how they're going to deal with it. Ask the questions in advance. Now, we did this, I think, last week or the week before. Brent Humphreys was in, and we were talking about the questions you need to ask when you're interviewing a real estate professional. If you're out shopping for a new home right now, have somebody that you know who's looking out for you, working with you. Give me a call, 800-306-1990. We'll get you in touch with our friends over at Gold Star. You'll get that Fast Pass pre-approval. Then, and you understand the sequence of events, then we put you in touch with the folks at a real estate firm that's going to help you deal with getting yourselves represented to the best of the ability there as well. Again, it's all for your benefit. Yes, the Gold Star is one of our sponsors, so I absolutely do have a vested interest in sending business to them. But the most important part is getting you into the home that you want, that's the right property at the right time for your family. Right now, it takes a lot to get that done just because of what's going on in the marketplace. It is a seller's market. So if you're a buyer, you need somebody that knows what they're doing to help you get to the finish line. We'll talk more about that when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. We're going to talk about how costly is bad credit. The home renovation boom is turning people's houses into ATMs again. Oops. We don't want to see that happen, so we're going to talk about it, give you a little warning there. You can reach us anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Siegel Lending Team offers you buying power. Let's say you can afford a monthly mortgage payment, including principal and interest, of around $1,900. With today's rate on a 30-year fixed mortgage of 3.75%, APR 3.85%, that payment could support a $416,000 mortgage. But if you wait and rates tick up to around 6.5%, which is roughly the average home mortgage rate over the past 30 years, that same $1,900 mortgage payment, including principal and interest, may only be able to support a $314,000 mortgage. That's over $100,000 worth of home you're missing out on by waiting. That's buying power. All you need to do to get started is reach out to the Siegel Lending Team at 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Payment example excludes taxes and insurance. Call us for full details, 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990 or SiegelLendingTeam.com. Equal housing lender, licensed under NMLS number 217037.
Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Are you purchasing or own a luxury home? If you're like so many others, your home is your largest asset and the mortgage is your largest debt. The Siegel Lending Team has some amazing financing opportunities right now. Jumbo loans up to $2 million, 30-year rates below 4%, 15-year rates near 3.5%, and if you can believe it, 7-year interest-only hybrids in low 3s. The Siegel Lending Team has all the options for your jumbo or second home loan requirements. Take advantage of them while you can. To learn more about all the other financing products available from the Siegel Lending Team, call 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Again, call 1-800-306-1990. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender.
Do you own real estate or have assets over $150,000? Do you know one of your heirs will be the probate courts and the IRS? If you don't have a living trust, you will go through probate. Call Heritage Financial Services toll-free at 1-855-434-7400 for a free review. Check us out on Facebook, Heritage Financial Service in Lake Forest, California. That's 1-855-434-7400. Again, 1-855-434-7400.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. 1990. In the Your Credit Matters segment today, being brought to you by CreditSanitizer.com. You have a credit report. It is wrong. What are you doing about it? Credit Sanitizer has the solutions for you. So let's look and see how costly is bad credit is our subject this morning. Want to find that out, give you some information there. Just looking up some interesting numbers so that we can give you some real stats and share some information with you, because it's amazing how many people don't recognize the fact of how costly it could be to have bad credit. So what do you do? What's the solution when we're looking at some of these different numbers? How do we manage it? So if we go back, what I was going to do is what I want to really do is we're going to look at just the concept. Now I know that not everybody's going to put 20% down on a home. So, but how do I give you some real valuable numbers without just having a baseline? That's the whole issue, is looking at a baseline, what we're talking about. So if we look at a baseline of just a 30-year fixed rate loan, and we talk about what the property is, what we're looking at, I'm going to show you the concept here, and we're just doing this for education purposes. So I'm not going to give you all of the legalese, all the legal issues that are going involved in this. But if we were to look at a $500,000 purchase, that's kind of what our baseline is this morning. And we look at the difference between what happens when the borrower's got great credit, fair credit, moderate credit. Those are some of the issues that you look at on a regular basis and want to find out, okay, what's going to happen, and what is the impact of all of these different numbers with my credit scores, and more importantly, with my payment. That's the big issue, right? I mean, you want to know what the payment is going to be, and what does that mean to your family, because that's all that really, at the end of the day, that's what matters, is what does that payment look like, and what is it going to get you when you don't have good credit versus when you do have good credit, right? I mean, isn't that the bottom line? So when I look at some of these different numbers, we're just looking and saying, okay, well, where do they come from? They come from the the debt to income ratios. They come from the loan to value ratios. These are the big numbers that and you can get loans. I mean, the loans are available from 500 FICOs all the way up. But what I did here is I just looked at what are we looking at with a 640 FICO? What does a 725 FICO look like? What are all these different numbers, and what is the payment difference going to be? And when you think about payment differences, then you start looking and saying, okay, what the numbers on payments, and this is something that a lot of people make mistake about. The number on a payment doesn't really mean a whole heck of a lot when you look at just the payment alone. What's really becomes important is what's going to happen over the life of the loan. So you have to, every number you look at, you end up you double it, or I mean, you have to run it by times 360. So we looked at a survey, and this was a survey done by NerdWallet, that more than a quarter of Americans, 26%, check their credit scores monthly or more often. Nearly 1 in 8 have never checked their credit scores. We talk to you about doing that all the time. CreditKarma.com is a good source. Now, is that going to give you a FICO score? No. It gives you a Vantage score, a FACO score, but it gives you the trajectory. If you've got a real high Credit Karma score, well, then you're going to probably have a high FICO score. If it's a moderate number, then we have to be more careful about that. Half of Americans, 49%, don't know that having bad credit can limit a person's options, even for something as basic as cell phone service. A quarter of Americans think a person has just one credit score. That's 23%. They must not be listening to Ron Siegel Radio. You've got 9 of them. 9 credit scores. Actually, there's probably even more than that. But for every type of a transaction, there's 3. If you're looking at buying a new house, you're going to have 3 different credit scores for a new house. You're going to have an Experian, an Equifax, and a TransUnion. If you're looking at a car, they look at something a different modeling methodology So they're going to give you 3 of their own, again for each of the 3 main bureaus, but using their methodology. Credit cards, they're going to look at something different. 41% think carrying a small balance on a credit card month to month can improve a person's credit scores. Well, some people say yes, some people say no. I like to keep a little balance on there. Pay it off between the credit card statement closing date and the due date. If you're going to pay it off in full between those 2 dates, that's good. But I like to get your credit, keep a small balance at the statement closing date. Go on just ahead of that statement closing date. Send in the majority of your payment then, and then keep a small balance, and then pay it off right after the statement closing date. That way there's a number in there, because when they look at credit utilization, and credit utilization is a formula where you're dividing the balance divided by the credit limit. If you've got a 0 in there, it causes a problem with the computers and their calculations. So there's been some reporting that there is a problem there. Having bad credit is expensive, and not just because of high interest rates lenders charge. More than 2 in 5 Americans, 43%, don't know that having bad credit can negatively impact the price in some states of car insurance. I don't believe it's allowed in California. 52% don't know that it can negatively impact the cost of utility deposits. These expenses are often cheaper or non-existent for those with excellent credit, even though they don't involve borrowing money. Bad credit can even limit housing options. Landlords check applicants' credit reports, but almost a quarter of Americans, 23%, don't know that having bad credit can negatively impact the person's ability to rent an apartment. 49% don't know that bad credit can limit the ability to get a cell phone. Think about all these different numbers. So let's look at some real numbers. Actually, let's look first at what's a credit score. So your credit score is going to range between 300 and 850. That number is an estimate of how likely someone is to repay borrowed money. If you make regular payments to a lender on a credit card or auto loan, for example, you probably have credit scores. I've seen people that don't have great credit scores because they didn't get any credit. They decided they wanted to live on cash or using a debit card. And I know there's a popular radio host that is a big proponent of don't have any credit. And I think that that's a big mistake. Now, where he is in Knoxville, Tennessee, you can buy a house for $80,000. In Southern California, your down payment is $80,000. Well, not quite, but in many properties, you're looking at an $80,000 down payment. So it's not looking at apples and apples when you're talking about that. So the 5 major components of your credit score: payment history. Are you paying your bills on time? Credit utilization, I've talked to you about that one already. How long do you have your credit cards? If you're constantly opening new credit cards and closing older ones, that's not going to help your credit. The mix of credit accounts. So the idea there is you want a mortgage, you want a car. Actually, the perfect mix, they say, because nobody exactly knows the model for FICO, but 1 mortgage, 2 cars, and 3 credit cards. That's the mix. And then new credit. How many hard inquiries appear on your credit file? Now, if you're out rate shopping, they call that buffering. So if you're buying a new car and you go to multiple car dealerships and they each run your credit in a short period of time, that's not going to have a negative impact on your credit scores. You can actually get your credit report free once per year. It does not give you your score. You have to pay for that one. So there are different ways of improving your credit scores, but let's just look at, just for a house, and I think I shared with you, I was going to use a $500,000 purchase, 20% down payment. You know that you don't need a 20% down payment. But if you had a 765 FICO score, you're looking at a $1,900 principal and interest only. I know there's taxes, insurance, and we should be giving you an APR, but I'm just trying to give you an education here, not give you any quotes. But if you're looking at a 725 FICO score, your interest rate jumps a quarter of a point right there, $58 a month higher in your interest rate, $58 a month. Now, remember I said to you that it's not like it's just a 1-month deal. You're looking at $21,000, almost $21,000 it cost you by having just that 40-point difference. Now, let's look at the difference that we're going to get if we have a $765, which I already told you that payment is $19.10. Or if we look at a 640, well, your interest rate is 0.75% higher, $177 a month higher. But that's almost $64,000 a year. $64,000 a year at extra cost over the life of the loan. Do you see why it's important for you to manage this? Do you see why it's important for you to do what you can to increase your credit score? Make sure, first off, that your credit report is accurate. That's why we have several companies that we recommend. Don't own them, don't represent them, don't work for them. But I do know people that have had some good success with them. Fortress Credit Pro, Blue Water Credit, great companies to work with if you need some help with your credit scores. We're going to talk about some methods to start working on your credit when we come back. That's because that's the bottom line is it's good to know these issues, but more important than knowing them, that becomes how do we deal with increasing them once we've got them correct? Then what do we do? That's going to be the topic of our conversation when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. We're going to talk about home renovation boom. Maybe it's turning people's houses into an ATM. We'll see if that's good or bad. We're going to also continue our conversation on how costly is bad credit. We'll talk about that as well. You can reach us anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. On Twitter, @Ron Siegel. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
In the middle of a street, a house. In the middle of a...
Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 7564.
Isn't it time you found out the truth about FHA-insured home equity conversion? No, it's not your grandfather's reverse mortgage. This just may be the finest financial planning strategy available for all homeowners of retirement age. Helping protect what you've earned is the job of your board of directors with continued education. Major research has shown that using a HECM will significantly enhance the success rate of a retiree's portfolio and legacy. Please allow us to educate. For your complimentary consultation, call Jay Kaplan at 949-300-3855. That's 949-300-3855.
Are you currently renting a home? Do you like someone else's mortgage payment? Why not explore the options to purchase your own home? Can you imagine a 30-year fixed-rate loan below 4.25% APR? This means with $10,500, you can purchase a $295,000 home and have a principal and interest payment of about $1,400 per month. What are you paying in rent? Does your family deserve the opportunity to take advantage of the current market? To learn more about these exciting opportunities, the Siegel Lending Team is standing by to speak with you. Call now, 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Or 1-800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender. Not endorsed or sponsored by any government agency.
Do you have a goal of mortgage-free home ownership? What if your home was valued at $500,000? Are you aware that a free and clear home could be costing you $2,500 every month, $30,000 per year? The mortgage planners at the Siegel Lending Team would like to show you how you can own your home, generate tax-free income, and accumulate family wealth. You simply need to call the Ron Siegel Team at 1-800-306-1990. That is 1-800-306-1990. By sending the team a copy of your most recent mortgage statement, the team will send send you a no-obligation real estate plan. You be the judge if this is right for your family. Again, all you have to do is send the team a copy of your mortgage statement by email to reap@ronsiegelradio.com or call today. Ron Siegel, 1-800-306-1990. That is 1-800-306-1990.
Rate subject to change and without notice. Licensed by the California DOC and BRE NMLS 217037 and 145502 and Cal BRE 01869452 and 1866775.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. A renovation boom is turning people's houses into ATMs again. That is the subject of today's Word on Wealth segment, brought to you by Gold Star Mortgage. When you're ready for that next mortgage, Gold Star has the programs, the products for you. So here's the issue. Homeowners are staying in place with available homes at record lows. Home equity lines of credit are booming with higher housing values, and the new home equity boom comes just as the pain of the last boom is ending. That's according to a report from CNBC. So here's the issue. Home equity loans have in most instances, not all of them, but in most instances, home equity loans have a 10-year recast period. What the heck does that mean? So basically, you take out a home equity line of credit, and for the first 10 years, the loan, you can pay against it, pay down the loan, pay off the loan, keep a couple dollars in there so it stays opened. But the loan balance grows and shrinks. And in most instances, all you have to do is make an interest-only payment each month. So you could actually take it, if you haven't drawn the full amount, you can take a draw on your loan, put it into your checking account, and make an interest-only payment just using the money off of the line of credit. So that is something that can be done. After 10 years, the draw period expires, and the loan goes into an amortizing period, generally over the next 20 years. So those folks that got an interest-only or a HELOC, a home equity line of credit, back in 2007, well, they're starting to see that recast period coming up right now, and home loan, the payment, in many instances, is becoming a significant increase. They're getting what they call payment shock because they're getting sometimes the payments will more than double during the time period. Now, those folks that did not get the home equity line of credit or bought in 2008, 9, 10 and have seen a significant increase in their equity position in their properties, in many instances, what those folks are looking at doing right now is they're saying, hey, what happens if I take out or I get a home equity line of credit? I don't want to move. I like where I'm at. I like my house, but we're starting to need some home repairs. Maybe we want to modernize something, put in a new kitchen, do a new pool, new backyard. Or in some instances, they need to do some age-appropriate renovations. You need to put in some, I know one person put in an elevator in their property. They needed to put in a walk going on. Maybe you need a new roof, some of those different items, new air conditioning. Well, the home equity line of credit could be a resource for that as well. So you do that right now, and over the next 10 years, you make your payments on that or pay it off in the next 10 years. For those people that have not set a budget to save money for doing that. So remodeling right now is basically at an all-time high. The current strength of the remodeling market can be attributed primarily to economics. Low mortgage rates, strong existing home sales, the bull stock market run, good job gains, and now more recently, wage gains. That's according to an economist at Metro Study. With housing affordability an issue in many markets across the country, millennials will be more inclined to purchase older, more affordable existing homes that will necessitate renovations. So then you also look and say, okay, what about the property assessed clean energy loans. That's the PACE loans. Well, obviously we've been talking about that for a long time because they came out initially and they had a problem or a bad reputation. Now they've got a real good reputation. I've seen some being redone. I've seen some homes sell with a PACE loan on that and be assumable. I've seen some where they've negotiated and paid them off, so I've seen both issues there. There's also a big timing issue, and how it's done, I don't get involved with it, but if you time your PACE loan properly, sometimes you're looking at 6 to 12 months before your payments start. You could also be, if they're timed properly and done properly, it could be as much as 18 months before the payments even start. Again, you have to understand how to do that. That's why I tell folks all the time, I'll put you in touch with the person that can help you with that. I send all of them over to one individual. He's done some great stuff for our clients and got them that timing issue that is so important when you're doing your overall financial plan. That's just an issue right there. That is the Word on Wealth segment. Again, brought to you by our friends over at Gold Star Mortgage. When you're ready for that next loan, the new loan, give me a call, I'll put you in touch, and we will see what we can do about helping in that area. So we were talking before the break about how costly is bad credit. I gave you some great examples, I believe, right there. But what if you don't have the greatest of credit? How do you deal with it? Well, there are credit builder loans. They typically have some sort of a twist to them. It might be a securitized loan that you go to a bank and you say, I need a loan and I'm going to put up $1,000. I want to borrow against it. So they've got a security interest that's not really a unsecured loan. There are secured credit cards out there. You have to use, again, the right ones. If you use the right secured credit cards, then what you're really looking at in that instance is they report to all three agencies. You put up a sum of money, then you start using a credit card, make payments on the credit card. Over the next 3 to 6 months while that's happening, then what you're going to start finding out is that you will qualify for unsecured credit cards. And again, you go back to, if you remember what we said earlier on in the broadcast, 1 mortgage, 2 cars, 3 credit cards. You can have more credit cards, but the issue here becomes if you're getting those credit cards and letting them season. What I mean by seasoning is get older, get aging behind them. Then you're going to end up doing your credit score is going to get better. Then if you have a hiccup along the line, or if something is misreported on your credit report, because we know that every credit report has errors. It's my opinion that everyone has. I haven't seen any that don't have them. But if you start looking at the credit reports and the errors on the credit reports, then you're not going to have as big an issue if you've got multiple credit cards that are kind of working as a life preserver around your credit score. So that's where you're going to start building up credit over time. As you're doing that building of the credit over time, then you start looking and saying, okay, what's our household? You go back all the way back to where we started the whole conversation today. What is that household blended interest rate? Because then you start looking and saying, okay, I've got that household blended interest rate. Can I do better? Can I improve on that household blended interest rate so that maybe I don't have the higher rates on there? Maybe I'm not paying 30% on a credit card. Maybe I'm not paying 15% on a car loan. Well, once you've built your credit up and started doing those other things that we've been talking about, yes, absolutely, all of those things become a possibility, and you're just working on managing that. Now, the important thing also is when you look at your credit report and you get that copy that you can get free every year, make sure it's accurate. Make sure that your name is correct. Make sure that your address is correct. Make sure that your work history, if they are showing anything, that it's correct. Nothing has to be on your credit report, but anything that's there has to be complete, accurate, and verifiable. If it's not complete, accurate, and verifiable, it must be removed. So we're not saying to lie about something that is yours and you're trying to correct it. We don't want that. That's not the idea. But the idea is to make sure that if you've got a credit card that you've had for 10 years and it's only showing up as being 4 years old, that's a big issue. Because that's where, actually what they end up doing is they'll put on their 47 months because you get a benefit to your FICO score at 48 months. So the credit bureaus have a benefit. They have an inherent benefit for your scores to be low. I just say it like it is. Some people don't want to hear it. They don't want to believe that. But they sell the data off of your credit report. That's their job. That's their business. So when they're selling that data, do you think that they get more money when they sell a 500 FICO or an 800 FICO? Well, certainly they get more money on the 500 FICO. So they do that on a regular basis. And then when they're doing that, it incentivizes them to have your scores low. If your score is low, do not push that dispute button on their website. That is to give them a way of doing less work. You want to go back and look at some of the dispute shows I've done in the past, and I'll give you the information on how to properly dispute something that's on your credit report. And be sure to set that first radio preset button to come back here every day to join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to John, who's engineering us today. And, of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money, help a lot of people, have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.